Hello, everyone. It's Mari-Lyn Harris here of Hard at Work, and I'm here with some great friends, and we're going to be talking about the Legacy Playbook. I created the Legacy Playbook because of my own experience recently this year about being an executor for a friend of mine who I totally was not expected to do the work, but here I am doing the work, cleaning up the end of his life as he knew it in this world. And one of the things that I found is that nothing was planned, nothing was set. I was with him till he took his last breath, and I would say to him, "You can't go yet. I need to know this and this and this," and he would just say, "Mari-Lyn, you're a smart cookie. You'll figure it out. It's an Easter egg hunt." And he was just so much pain and agony that he couldn't really express anything more than that. Um, so that was my journey, I guess, if you will, into the experiencing doing that. And I was by myself. There's nobody else around me except him and I. And so it was a very honoring moment, a time I would just chat with him. But anyway, so from that experience, I decided to create a legacy playbook because not that many people out of the US anyway, only about 30% of people actually have a will. And all the will does is helps the people who are your executors to guide your wishes or your legacy, I call it, out, and whether they continue to do so or not. So anyway, I just put together a brief little presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And out of this as well, I will be doing some master classes or workshops about how to create your own legacy and playbook, and also your so it doesn't take in the place of a will, but what it does is helps you really get clear about what it is that you want to have for your last presentation. So why would somebody have a playbook? Basically, you're specifying your wishes to your loved ones. I always think of it as start with your end in mind. What is it that you want people to know who you were? What did you believe in? What was your values? And so that the people that you're leaving behind can now still carry it forth onto their lives, and know that you're remembered and that you were loved. And so one of the things is doing a playbook as well. When you do it, you can also save up to 40% on your taxes. So you're paying less inheritance tax. As you know, the government wants their share too, as you're exiting. and and if you don't have a plan, you don't know where to start. And somebody who's now going to be looking after you and your affairs, they need to know, like just what I was saying earlier about not being an Easter egg hunt. And you also avoid inheritance disputes because, we might think we know people really well, but sometimes what happens is a distant cousin might show up and say, "Oh, my auntie said I could have this." And everybody's standing there or thinking, "What? That's not what she wrote. She didn't tell us that." So you get things like that. And also, just because you have children, you can't assume that your monies or your plans will go to your children, because the court can decide that if there's a dispute. And also, you're providing financial security for the people that you leave behind, so that they know if you have a life insurance plan that they're looked after. If you have any health issues, or you have maybe designated a fund for other people, you want to leave behind a fund for people that are maybe went through your situation. And you can also choose your executors. So otherwise it would just go to the court, and the court will decide what's going to happen to your affairs, to your money, to your property, and so forth. So that's why I say you want to have a playbook. So you have to start with the end in mind and work your way back to where you are now. So what do you need? You have to consider, what legacy do you want to leave behind? So reverse engineer it, I guess. You start from where you are now at the end and work your way where you are now. So that's what I call reverse engineer. You need to have a list of all the things that you need to put your plan together. And so when I do my workshop, I will help you and guide you through the master class. So I've actually written a guide. So we can go through that book. You'll get the book and we'll go through that guide and we'll go step by step to get your plan together. So then you will know what's going to happen in the end, and everybody else will be looked after. Also, you'll need to know, have a clear vision for yourself. What do you want to have happen? For some of us, it's like, okay, well, whatever happens, happens. But if you have children or a husband or a wife or other partners, then they also want to know what you want so they can help you make that decision. And then I always say, everyone has a story. What's yours? So you have to kind of believe in that you have a story, and deep inside of all of us, we have a story. We want to be remembered for certain things. So how are we doing that now so that when the end comes, it is remembered? So a playbook is for people who want more out of life. Maybe you're a little bit stuck, or you're struggling right now to figure out what you want to do next. So the playbook might help you with that too, is to find out what more can I get out of life? And it points you in the right direction with your family. And every impactful legacy changes the world. So there's okay. It's no problem, Michaela, if you have to leave. I can send you the presentation and the information later. And then the last slide I had is to change the world. It starts with you. So you have to decide what you want out of your life now and how I can help you, guide you to make that happen, or not make you have it, but have it happen for you. So that's kind of really my presentation about the playbook and the workshop. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you, and we could go from there.
Thank you. May the force be with you. It's really important work. Really important work.
Yeah.
So, and with that, thank you very much. And
you're welcome.
Mercedes, thank you. It was nice to meet you, and I appreciate the meditation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you as well.
Bye. Bye, Michaela. Thank you for. So.
Excellent start. I think, I know for me, just in those, and what you presented, and given what I've just gone through with the health challenge.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I love this, to change the world. It starts with you, and what is my legacy? Because I think moving forward, I've done a lot of different things. But putting it together in an organized fashion, that after I have left this world, that the information and the information is usable and not dependent upon me, and who is the caretaker of it. Right. Who's I mean, looking? I've got a ton of videos and pages written in journals and things, and my sister has said, I want your journals, so, but who's going to be the caretaker, or does it get buried with me? Right. And also, like, because that's all part of your legacy, all the videos and all your stories and all the ways you've helped people. That is all part of your legacy. But how are you going to gather it together, and who's going to be, like you were saying, the caretaker of all that information? And there's, of course, much more. You have your social and digital information. Who's going to close that off, or how do you want that to go?
So you have to define all that information. And people, whoever is going to look after it, whether your sister or, you know, whoever you're going to have as your executor, is that they also have to know what to do with all that information or how to pass it on to. And then the person who gets it passed on to, they may decide, hey, I don't want to do this, you know. And so at that point in time, you have to, these two people have to decide or agree upon what would Mercedes want, you know, because as an executor, they are there to fulfill the wishes of the person that they're helping to clean up the affairs, right?
Well, I think, yeah. And I think the one thing, this is kind of a joke, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but it's not. So I have a whole body of artwork that is huge. I mean, these paintings are 30 by 40s. They're not journal entries in a notebook.
Right.
But they've been my story. They're very personal to me. I have not sold my artwork. And 4 years ago, this is actually the month, September is the month of my diagnosis 4 years ago. And I had said to my sister, just burn it all. And people were appalled with that. But I've made no, you know, I can look at a painting and say, oh, that was the time I was going through this.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that God gave me the artwork this big.
Right.
You know, and so it takes up a room. You know, a piece of my art, generally speaking, is a statement within a room.
Right.
But it was also a statement of my healing, a statement of my mindset, a statement, and it was personal. So when I said just burn it all, it caused quite an outrage at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm going to do going forward, but I am going to attempt to get some of it out of my house and into other venues and things like that. But you know, the art's been quite a story. The way that I achieved being an artist in that fashion, in that scale, was a God-given gift. I had never picked up a paintbrush, so people look at the art like it's miraculous.
Right.
And I'm looking at it like there's a piece of me on that canvas that I don't and just burn it. So there's an example for why what you're putting into the world is so important. And I think the other thing I got just from your brief statement is, I think that, which is going to make me think, I think that what we may think is a small trivial thing is a big thing for the people around you. And so there could be a real point of disconnection. We'll stay in the theme of the meditation, but there could be a very big disconnect in that. And so going into the heart of it, going into the I love you, going into the, you know, in Mercedes' heart, what does she want to do? Not in my mind or my existence, what's happening with me, to keep that person who has transitioned in your heart. So much going on right now where people are just exiting. You know, they're you know, between COVID and natural causes and the stress and strain of the world that we're living in this moment.
Right.
There's a lot of transitioning going on, and so there's a lot of emotion attached for the people that are remaining. Whole range of motion. You know? And some of these transitions are unexpected, which has been devastating. And I've got a friend who personally has lost 7 members of his family to COVID. You know, how could that within a year?
Right.
You know, so what you're talking about, if for nothing else, because it's not a legal document, but if for nothing else, that you get to sit down and think about some of this in a way that honors you and your family. And, you know, and death is a very scary thing. Sometimes we just don't want to face it, but in this environment, it's just here.
Yeah, it's not meant to be served as a legal document, but what it does is helps you get clear what it is that you want to leave at the end. So you have more planning in the process, right? You know, we decide to grow a business, we kind of do a plan or business plan for that. So this is like a personal life plan in some aspects of it. And so when you do your will, then you have more clarity about and be in sound mind doing that rather than not in your deathbed. Like, you know, so many people with COVID are in their deathbed, they're dying alone and they are also not prepared. So, but I guess, you know, if you're lying in bed long enough, I guess you gain some clarity, but at the same time, that it's very clouded, it's very emotional at that point in time. So
Well,
you're kind of beyond that.
I think the other thing in my personal experience, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
I was kind of close. It was close.
Yeah.
You don't have the strength. You just don't have the strength. You don't have
Yeah.
the mental clarity.
Yeah.
You don't have the strength. Part of what I don't know if I'm teaching it, but part of
Yeah.
what my experience has been is how do you move past the pain? There's this ratcheting pain in your body if there's an illness involved of some sort. And that's not the time to be trying to figure out what's going to happen to the paintings.
Right.
Because at that point, for healing, because I do believe if you have breath, there is the opportunity to heal.
Right.
So for healing, you're having to connect them with the systems of life and living. And you should not have to be worrying about your stuff.
Yeah. Well, who thinks about their stuff at that point in time? You know, you're just trying to breathe. Never mind worrying about all your stuff. But that stuff does go, I'm sure, goes through your head. What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with my pets? What am I going to do with my children? Or adult children, or whoever your life has been consistent of, right? So why not do it previously so you have somewhat information, right? You need to know. So the people that you are leaving behind need to know. I was having this interesting kind of chat on Facebook with a friend of mine who is in the hospital because of COVID. I was having this discussion saying that, have you done your will yet? Have you thought about what you're doing? And he said, well, why should I worry about doing it now? And I said, I don't wish COVID on anybody, but if you don't have a will and you're the only one, it's a tragedy. It's a mess. You've left behind a mess. And he was just saying, well, my wife, and I said, yeah, I know your wife, but does she have a plan? Well, no, her plan is my plan. And I says, well, maybe not. Maybe she has her other ideas. It's her life, but of course, you just need to have something written down, a will or something to say, this is what I wish. And that's what I want, how I want you to, look after my affairs. Of course, if you're married or whatever, you want the best for your spouse, but sometimes what the spouse wants is maybe not what the husband or the wife wants, right? But we're all as individuals need that closure. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me, Mercedes. I so appreciate your time today. I know you're a busy lady and you're still unpacking and all the other things.
Yeah, but this is important. It's close to my heart. I was not with you as you were going through the experience, but we had talked, immediately after, and I'm so joyful for you that you're taking what you experienced and turning it into a tool so that people don't have to go through what you went through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I'm very grateful, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to come on my journey with me.
All right, you take care.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Bye.